Well, good afternoon. On this Sunday afternoon, this is Kent with SDG Replays coming to you with my continued play of my 8-team, 28-game season featuring Pocket Pennant Run. I'll be using the PC Replay game to score the games and keep track of the season stats, because that's the purpose of this, to see what how the stats fall out after these 28 games. We're currently going to be in the fourth game of the season. So far, most teams are either at 2-1 or 1-2, but the surprising 75 Red Sox are 3-0 after 3 games. So we're going to be featuring them this afternoon. They are, like I said, currently 3-0. They, interestingly enough, they do not have a very good pitching staff, but they do have dangerous hitting that has kind of kept them in step so far in this season, and that's why they find themselves at 3-0. And it's going to be exciting to see how this plays out. They're facing today the 23 Hilldale Club, which I've featured several times playing. I enjoy playing with this Negro League team. They have great pitching, and that kind of makes for interesting games. Today should be a little bit different because we're going to have 2 pitchers up that are not A pitchers. P.Cockrell, who is pitching for the Hilldale Club, is a B-rated pitcher. He can go 6 innings with B control and C defense. Pitching for the Red Sox will be D.Pole. He's a right-hander who can go 5 innings. He's a C pitcher with C defense. So a little bit more of a challenge for him, as his control is not the best. And so let's get into this and we'll see what we got going on. We'll read out quickly the starting lineups for each team, and then we'll get into this game. Just trying to get some things set up on my view here. And off we go. Here we go. Let's back up just a step. Let's take a look at the box score where we can look at our lineups. For 23 Hilldale, we'll have Otto Briggs leading off in right field, followed by Frank Warfield playing second base. John Henry Lloyd will be your shortstop. Louis Santrop will be batting in the cleanup spot. He's your catcher. Batting in the fifth spot will be Clint Thomas, playing left field. Carr will be batting in the 7th spot or 6th spot, playing first base. Judy Johnson playing third base in the 7th spot, D.Pole Johnson will be batting in the 8th spot in center field, and then the pitcher P.Cockrell will be batting in the 9th spot. For the Red Sox, Rick Burleson will lead off playing shortstop. Dwight Evans will be in right field in the 2nd spot. Carl Yastrzemski will be at first base batting in the 3rd spot. Jim Rice batting cleanup in left field, followed by Fred Lynn in center field. Rico Petrocelli batting in the 6th spot at third base. In the 7th spot will be Doug Griffin playing second base. Bob Montgomery will be your catcher, batting in the 8th spot, and then batting in the 9th spot will be D.Pole. So let's get into our game. If you'll notice as I transition the screens here, dice roller will be in the bottom left of the corner. I have your game cards to the left, and then our play screen, of course, the field to the right. Leading off for the Hilldale Club will be Otto Briggs. Otto Briggs is struggling so far in this season. He's 1 for 12 so far in this 3 games played, and he struck out 3 times for an .083 batting average. Here comes the pitch from Pole. Here's the pitch. And he offers up a fat one right off the plate. He hung one up, and Otto Briggs, who bats from the left side, will be batting from the B column. That B11 will be in his power column. Briggs has C power. That C9 will be a leadoff double by Otto Briggs, who's saying who's having hitting issues, as he laces one into the alley between Lynn and Evans in right center field for a leadoff double, as Evans fires it back in, but not before Briggs is standing on second base. That'll bring up Frank Warfield. Batting from the right side, he will be a D hitter. He's normally a C, but here's the pitch from Pole. It's a ball hit sharply to Burleson at short. It handcuffs him a little bit. He fumbles with it, cannot get Briggs going to third, but he fires it over to Yastrzemski at first and gets Warfield by a step for a 6-3 putout and out number 1, but not before Briggs makes his way to third, and that brings up John Henry Lloyd. Lloyd, batting from the left side, will be an A-rated hitter with A power, so he's dangerous as Pole goes into the windup. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be one lifted deep into right field. Evans will settle under it, but it will be deep enough to score Briggs, and we have our first run of the game with 2 outs with the sacrifice fly. That'll bring up Louis Santip. Santip so far on the season, this early 3-game season, is yet to get a hit. He's only been to the plate twice. So as Pole goes into his windup, Santip digs in. Here is the pitch. Santip, hitting from the B column, hits a sharp grounder to Burleson at short. Burleson backhands it, fires it over to Yastrzemski at first for the 6-3 putout. And we go to the bottom of the first with Hilldale up 1-0 on the sacrifice fly by John Henry Lloyd. So we go to the bottom of the first. Hilldale 1, Red Sox 0. Coming to the plate for the Red Sox will be Rick Burleson. Burleson will be a D hitter against the righty Cockrell with C power. Here's the pitch from Cockrell, who pitches from the B column. It will go to the batter card. And that's a ball hit sharply to Warfield at second. Scoops it up, tosses it over to Carr at first for the 4-3 putout, and out number 1. That'll bring up Dwight Evans. Evans will be a C hitter. He's normally a B hitter with A power, but facing the righty, he will be a C. Here's the pitch to Evans. It's a defensive check on the right fielder Otto Briggs. Briggs is a B defender. And that roll of 12 is not good. It will be an E9 that allows Evans to make it to first. One base error on Otto Briggs. So we have a runner on. Evans, who is a C runner, will not be attempting to steal. As Carl Yastrzemski steps to the plate, he will be batting from the B column since he is a lefty and with B power. As Evans takes a slight lead, here is the pitch. And he hits it sharply to John Henry Lloyd at short. Scoops it up, hits Warfield in stride. Warfield with the pivot, fires it over to Carr at first for the 6-4-3 rally-killing inning double play. And we go to the top of the second with Hilldale up 1-0. Nice double play pulled by the Hilldale Club as Clint Thomas steps to the plate. Thomas batting from the D column, normally a C hitter, but against Poole he will be a D hitter. Here's the pitch. And he lifts one into right field. Evans under it. Dwight sliding over toward the right field line. Settles underneath it, taps his glove. Out number 1 on the F9 put out. Now we'll bring up George Tank Carl to the plate. Carr will be hitting from the C column with B power. He's a switch hitter. Here is the pitch. And he lifts another fly ball into right field as Dwight Evans is getting some activity here in the top of the second. Slides over this time toward Lynn, waves him off, settles underneath the high fly for out number 2 in the F9 put out. That'll bring up Judy Johnson. Johnson, the righty, will be batting from the D column, normally a C batter with C power. Here's the pitch to Johnson. We'll go to the batter card. And that will be a line drive fired right at Carl Yastrzemski. The well-seasoned Yastrzemski plays it easily, stabs it out of the air for the L3 put out, and out number 3. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the second. As the Red Sox come to the plate, P.Cockrell eyeing the dangerous Jim Rice. Rice will be batting from the B column with A power. Here's the pitch to Rice. We control check on Cockrell. Cockrell's control is a B. And he walks him. He gives Rice the free pass down to first. Rice trots down to first, glances over at Cockrell, gives him a wink and a grin, and steps on first base. Rice with good speed. As Cockrell goes into the windup, he breaks for second, and he's safe easily. Santip fumbled the ball and didn't even make a throw as Rice steals second without a throw from Santip. Now no outs. Runner in scoring position as Fred Lynn steps to the plate. The lefty Lynn will be batting from the A column with A power. This is why in this season so far, in these first 3 games, while the Red Sox pitching is not the best, they got a deadly lineup of hitters as Fred Lynn steps to the plate. Here is the pitch to Lynn. This will be a control check, and Cockrell will walk Lynn. He's walked the first two batters of the inning. Having a little issue with control so far as we have runners on first and second. No outs, and Rico Petrocelli stepping to the plate. Petrocelli has been given the signal from the bench to lay down a bunt, and that's what he's going to do as Rice and Lynn are going to break for their bases. And he lays down a bunt that is a slow dribbler in front of Santup at behind the plate, and the only play he has is to first base. So it's a nice bunt laid down by Rico Petrocelli that move Rice and Lynn up a base and puts Rice 90 feet from tying this game up. As Doug Griffin steps to the plate, he will be hitting from the D column as well. Griffin, Cockrell bears down. Here's the pitch, and Griffin will get to hit. As he grounds one slow roller to Lloyd at short. Lloyd up with it, fires it home, and gets the sliding Rice out at home on the 6-2 putout. And they get the lead runner Rice as Lloyd makes the diamond gem of a play as he fields it and fires to Santup, who applies a tag. And Jim Rice goes to the dugout shaking his head, and that opportunity is missed. But we still have runners on the corner, and Bob Montgomery stepping to the plate. He will be hitting from the D column with B power. Here is the pitch. He gets to swing away, but he just hits one sharply to Warfield at second, who fields it, tosses it to Carr at first, and Cockrell gets out of the inning unscathed with the 4-3 putout. Missed opportunities for the Red Sox as Rice was gunned down at home, and then they leave two stranded here in the bottom of the second. We go to the top of the third with Hilldale still up 1-0. Now bring Judy Johnson to the plate. Johnson will be batting from the B column. He's normally an A with B power. Here's the pitch to Johnson. It's going to be a defensive check on the pitcher Pole, who's a D defender. But that low roll of 5, he will make the play as he fields the chopper in front of the mound, gets the high bounce, fires it over to Yastrzemski for the 1-3 putout. I think I'm just going to say Yaz from now on because it's hard for me to spit out. So that'll bring up the pitcher Cockrell. Cockrell is a D hitter, but with B power, which is interesting with the pitcher. He's got good power. So Pole will have to be careful as Cockrell digs in. Here's the pitch. And he does offer him up one to hit, and he lines it sharply at Yaz at first. Yaz, second line drive he's had to field in this game as he's on the hot corner of first base. Normally third, but not so far in this game for the L3 putout. And I'll bring Otto Briggs back to the plate. Briggs, his first time up, doubled. And we'll have to see if he can keep that going as the pitch comes from Pole. And he will get to swing away once again. That is going to be left up high. It is in his power column. And again, Briggs with a fat offering from D.Pole hits it hard, and he hits it deep again into the in between Evans and Lynn. This time Lynn up with it, fires it back in, but not before Otto Briggs is once again standing on second base with his second double of the game. And in scoring position once again as Frank Warfield comes to the plate. Warfield digs in. Warfield's first time up. He grounded out to short. Here's the pitch to Warfield. He hits it sharply to Griffin at second. Griffin vacuums it up, tosses it over Yaz for the 4-3 putout. And we go to the bottom of the third with Hilldale up 1-0. That brings up the pitcher, Pole. As Pole steps in, Cockrell eyes his counterpart, goes into the windup. Here is the pitch. It'll be a defensive check on the first baseman, Carr's a B defender. He makes that play easily. It ranges him over toward Warfield as he has to make the play, and Cockrell speeding over to first. Carr tosses it to him for the 3-1 putout, and out number 1. And that brings back up Rick Burleson. Burleson, his first time up, grounded out to second. Again, Burleson will be hitting from the D column. Here's the pitch from Cockrell, pitching from the B. It's a control check, and he walks him. His control is, if I remember correctly, is a B. A B11 in control is a walk. So Burleson gets a free pass. He trots down to first. Burleson with B speed. Again, as Cockrell goes into the windup, Burleson breaks for second. And he is safe as he slides under the tag by Warfield for the second stolen base for the Red Sox in this game. As Burleson places himself in scoring position at second with 1 out, and Dwight Evans stepping to the plate. Evans will be batting from the C column with A power. Here is the pitch from Cockrell. That C6 roll will be a fly ball into center field. It is deep. Burleson has the opportunity to tag up. He will be tagging up. And let's roll for the tag up. And he will be safe as he's outspeeds the throw by Judy Johnson. So that's it's an F8 to the center fielder that moves Burleson over to third. So with 2 outs, we got a runner on third, and Yaz coming up. Carl Yastrzemski stepping to the plate will be a B hitter once again with B power. Here's the pitch. It's going to be a defensive check on the shortstop, Lloyd. It's hit sharply to Lloyd. Lloyd, who is a C defender, makes the play, knocks it down, is able to field it, and gets Yastrzemski by a step for the 6-3 putout, and another runner left stranded by the Red Sox here early in this game as Hilldale still leads 1-0. We go to the fourth with Boston struggling to score. The 3-0 Red Sox. Hilldale coming to the plate. John Henry Lloyd. Lloyd, his last time up, flew out to right field, but it was a sacrifice fly that scored Briggs. As he digs in, here comes the pitch from Pole. Defensive check on Pole. Again, ball hit to him sharply. Pole makes the play, fires it over to Yaz for the 1-3 put out. And out number 1, and Lloyd goes back to the dugout. That'll bring up your catcher, Louis Santip. Santip, a B hitter with B power. And his last time up, what did Louis do? He grounded out to short. Pole into the windup. Here's the pitch. It's a control check. Pole's control is a C. That's C7. Will be a walk issued to Santip as Santip gets the free pass. He trots down to first. The leisure stroll to free base. And he has D speed as a catcher. He's going nowhere as Clint Thomas digs in. Thomas will be batting from the D column. Thomas flew out to right field his first time up. Here's the pitch. And Thomas, again, is a D hitter. That D9 is going to be a slow ground ball hit to Griffin at second. Santip's breaking for second. He's not going to be able to get Santip. He does get the force at first, but not before Santip puts himself into scoring position. And Tank Carr steps to the plate. George Tank Carr batting from the C column. As Santip is going to be running on contact. Here's the pitch. And that's lifted into left field. Jim Rice ranges over toward Fred Lynn. Settles in underneath it. Can of corn for the F7 put out. And we go to the bottom of the 4th with Hilldale up 1-0. Red Sox struggling to get on base as P.Cockrell toes the rubber. Here's the pitch from Cockrell. Rice digging in. That's going to be a control check. That B10. And he will walk Rice as Rice gets a free pass. How many has Cockrell walked so far in this game? Yeah, I thought so. He's walked 4. He's yet to strike out any batter, but so far he's allowed no hits. Can't say it's a perfect game, but so far he's got a no-hitter going, and I probably just jinxed that for P.Cockrell. As Fred Lynn steps to the plate, batting from the A column with A power. Jim Rice will stay put this time as they go into the windup. Cockrell with the pitch. This time it will be another control check. That B8 will be another walk. He's walked Lynn to put 2 on. Runners on first and second, no outs. 2 consecutive walks by Cockrell. And that'll bring up Rico Petrocelli. Petrocelli will be batting from the D column. Last time in this situation, we had the exact same situation, and Petrocelli laid down a bunt and moved the runners over. This time, I think I'm going to let him swing away and see what Petrocelli can do. Here's the pitch to Petrocelli. And he walks Petrocelli. That 3 come up once again, and that high 11. Petrocelli, he's walked the bases full as Cockrell is having all kind of issues here in the bottom of the 4th. Bases loaded, and Doug Griffin stepping to the plate. He just wants to be able to lift one into the outfield. As Griffin will be batting from the D column. Here's the pitch to Griffin. That D2, he lines it sharply to first. Carr is able to fire it over to Lloyd at second and back to first for a 6-3 double play. But that will score Rice and tie us up. But they play the double play to try to keep down the run total. And so there's 2 outs now, tied up 1-1. As Cockrell gives a head nod to Carr and Lloyd, and eyes Montgomery. Montgomery batting from the D column. Lynn standing on third. Here's the pitch. And Montgomery's been given something to hit. He is a B hitter. That D10, he hits a single solidly hit to Johnson in center field. Lynn scores easily from third for a RBI scoring single for Bob Montgomery. And the Red Sox now lead 2-1 as Pole comes up to the plate. He's going to swing away from the D column. Here's the pitch to Pole. Cockrell bearing down on Pole. Strikes him out. The frustrated and aggravated Cockrell, who is allowed 2 this inning, strikes out his counterpart. And now we go to the 5th with our totally different complexion of the game as the Red Sox now lead 2-1. And Pole going to the mound. This will be his last inning before he fatigues, so this is going to be his last inning. When a pitcher drops to a D rating, I always pull them. That's just a house rule that I have. So Judy Johnson steps to the plate here in the top of the 5th with the Red Sox leading 2-1. Johnson batting from the D column. Here's the pitch from Pole. That's a ground ball hit to Griffin. Griffin ranging over to the second base bag, makes the play, pivots, fires it over to Yastrzemski at first for the 4-3 putout. And out number 1. That brings up D.Pole Johnson. Johnson, his first time up. Grounded out back to the pitcher. Poles made 2 good fielding plays from his position. Had 2 putouts as Johnson steps to the plate. Batting from the B column. Here is the pitch. And it'll be a control check on Pole. And he will walk him as D.Pole trots down to first. And as Pole goes into the windup, Johnson breaks for second. He's digging, and Montgomery comes up firing, and they get Johnson as Griffin applies the tag. Johnson is caught still in second for the second out. And Phil Cockrell just shakes his head and steps to the plate as Pole gives the nod to his catcher. Here's the pitch. Cockrell gets something to hit. He swings at it. He lifts it high into right field. Takes Evans back to the warning track, but not deep enough as he settles underneath it with his back foot on dirt for out number 3 with the F9 putout. We go to the bottom of the 5th with the Red Sox up 2-1, and Rick Burleson stepping to the plate. Cockrell still batting from the B column. Cockrell, he can go through the 6 before his fatigue rating sets in. Burleson steps to the plate, batting from the D column. Here's the pitch to Burleson. And Cockrell strikes him out. He sets him down. Cockrell finally getting some K's on his card as he struck out 2 now, but has walked 6, has allowed 2 runs. He's only allowed 1 hit. Those walks have come back to bite him as Dwight Evans steps to the plate. Evans batting from the C column, but with A power. Here's the pitch to Evans. That's a ground ball to third. Judy Johnson up with it. Fires it over to Carr at first for the 5-3 putout. And out number 2 here in the bottom of the 5th. And Carl Yastrzemski striding to the plate. Yastrzemski hitting from the B column. What has Carl done on the day? He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out to short. He grounded into a double play in the first. He's grounded out to shortstop both times. John Henry Lloyd has been Johnny on the spot. Here's the pitch to Yastrzemski. This time he gets it out of the infield, but it's a high fly ball to D.Pole Johnson in center field. Johnson settles underneath it, pulls his cap down to block out the sun, and makes a play for the F8 putout. And out number 3. We go to the 6th with the Red Sox up 2-1. And I'm going to bring in a pitcher for Pole. And who shall it be? The bullpen is not great. Let's see, we're going to be facing a mismatch. So just bring in the best pitcher you can for Pole. And who will that be? Willoughby cannot come in. He's fatigued. He's probably the best option. Let's bring in the lefty Burton. He will be a B with A control. Actually, when I look at pitchers, that the control columns to me is the most important thing for the pitcher because that's where all your strikeouts come in. So Otto Briggs, who is 2 for 2 on the day with both doubles as he's come out of his hitting slump, has been hitting the ball all over the park. But facing the lefty, Briggs will drop to a C instead of a B. Here's the pitch to Briggs. He will get to swing away, but that'll be a hard hit ball to Yastrzemski. At first, Yastrzemski just waves off. Burton tags the bag himself for the 3 unassisted. And out number 1. And I know there's no 3 unassisted on the batter cards, but I just kind of play it just by feel. If I want it to be a play that Yastrzemski made by himself, I just call it, hey, this is for fun and it's for my imagination. So 1 out. And Frank Warfield stepping to the plate. Warfield digging in, batting from the C column. Here's the pitch to Warfield. Again, Burton comes in with a B rating. That B3 is a control check. He does have A control. That A9 will be a strike, but Montgomery drops the ball. Warfield, who runs at a B, will break for first. Will he make it? And he is like I said, a B runner. The cards are sticking together. And he beats it out, so we're going to have to charge an error to Montgomery, who fumbled the ball. And Warfield is safe on second. On first. as John Henry Lloyd comes to the plate. He is responsible for the only run scored for Hilldale in this game with a sacrifice fly to right field in the first, as Warfield takes a short lead off of first. Here's the pitch from Burton. That will be one that Lloyd can hit. He's hitting from the B column now against the lefty. And that's a slow roller hit to Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski has to charge to get it as Burton slides over to first. Tosses it to Burton, covering the bag for the 3-1 putout. But that will move Warfield over to second in scoring position with 2 outs. And the catcher, Santip, coming to the plate, will be batting from the C column against the lefty Burton. Santip digs in. Here's the pitch. It's going to be a defensive check on the shortstop. And he will boot it for the E6 error. And we have runners now on a corner as Burleson can't make the play. He kicks it around for the E6. And now we have runners on the corner. Second error in the game for the Red Sox as Clint Thomas steps to the plate. Runners on the corner. Thomas batting from the C column. Here is the pitch. And he will get to hit, but he lifts a high, lazy fly ball into left field. Jim Rice moves underneath it easily for the F7 putout. And out number 3, and you hear my dog shaking her head with her ears flapping. So now we go to the 6th, bottom of the 6th, with the score still 2-1, the Boston Red Sox. As P.Cockrell, this will be his last inning before he fatigues, but he will drop to a C, so I will keep him in unless he gets into trouble. Rice stepping in. Rice batting from the B column. Here's the pitch to Rice. No, and Rice gets one to hit, and he gets over anxious, and he hits a hanging curveball high and deep into center field. But Judy Johnson going back to the wall, makes the play for the F8 putout. And out number 1. And I now have a dog in my lap who is wanting my attention. So we're going to play with careful to not drop her. I got a 1-year-old Jack Russell who's wanting my attention right now. Just stay right there. We're good. Fred Lynn stepping to the plate. Lynn will be batting from the A column. The dangerous Fred Lynn. Here's the pitch to Lynn. He will not be able to take a swing at it this inning because that's a defensive check on the catcher, Santip. Santip gets the slow nubber in front of the plate, pounces on it quickly, fires at the car at first for the 2-3 putout. And out number 2 is now Rico Petrocelli comes to the plate. Petrocelli batting from the D column. P.Cockrell into the windup. It's a control check on Cockrell. Cockrell strikes him out as Petrocelli goes down swinging for out number 3. And we go to the 7th with our score 2-1 Red Sox. And Burton, I have to check his fatigue. I forgot to check it. He can go 2, so he will remain a B for this inning. As Tank Carr steps to the plate, batting from the C column. Here's the pitch to Carr. Defensive check on the second baseman, Griffin. Griffin's whose defense is a C, fields the ball. tosses it to Yastrzemski for out number 1 on a 4-3 putout as he makes that play easily as Judy Johnson now steps to the plate, batting from the C column against Burton. Here is the pitch. It's a ground ball to short. Burleson up with it, over to Yastrzemski for the 6-3 putout. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th. And that'll bring up D.Pole Johnson. Batting from the A column, Johnson could be dangerous. Here's the pitch. It's going to be a defensive check on the left fielder Rice. Rice is an A defender. He has to get on his horse a little bit as it's slicing toward the left field line, or I should say hooking with the right-handed hitting Johnson, and he makes the play as he takes it off his shoe tops for the F7 putout. And out number 3. And now we go to the 7th, bottom of the 7th. Cockrell's pitching will drop to a C. It'll be his last inning pitched as he comes to the mound. Griffin comes to the plate, and Griffin will be hitting from the D column. Here's the pitch to Griffin. That's a ground ball to second. Frank Warfield up with it. Over to Carr at first for the 4-3 putout. And out number 1. That'll bring up Bob Montgomery. Again, batting from the D column. Montgomery digs in, takes his hack at it as the pitch comes. It will be to the batter as he lifts it into left field. Clint Thomas, ranging over to D.Pole Johnson, waves him off, settles underneath it for out number 2. Now to bring the pitcher Burton up, which they're going to pinch hit for him. So we can bring a lefty in for Burton. Let's see who we want. Let's bring in Cecil Cooper to pinch hit. He'll be an A hitter with A power, but D speed. Cooper steps in. Cockrell with the pitch. It'll be a control check on Cockrell. That B6 will strike him out as Cooper comes in and gets blown away as he gets the fastball by him. Cooper goes down swinging. And we go to the 8th with our score 2-1. And I'm going to have to bring in a pitcher for the Red Sox and a hitter for Cockrell. Bring in the best batter I possibly can bring in. Let's bring in Denny Dole. Is he available? No, he's not. Well, I need to be looking at my pitchers, not my hitters. I need to bring in somebody for Burton. I would love to be able to bring in let's bring in Drago. The second Dick for the day. Dick Drago. And who can I bring in for Cockrell to hit? Biz Mackey will come in. Switch hitting Mackey has a pretty good bat, if I remember correctly. Mackey is an A batter with B power, so Drago's got his job cut out for him as he pitches from the C column with B control. Here's the pitch. And Mackey will get to swing away. He comes in and has a leadoff single as Mackey drops one in front of Evans in right field for the leadoff single by Biz Mackey. Mackey takes a slight lead as Otto Briggs, who's been hitting well, comes to the plate. Briggs batting from the B column. Here's a pitch to Briggs from Drago. This goes to the batter. That B4. It's just a fly ball, a short fly ball into left field. Rice plays it easily. Mackey will not try to get to second as the F7 put out has out number 1 and Frank Warfield stepping to the plate. Warfield will be hitting from the D column as Mackey takes his slight lead. Drago goes into the windup. Mackey breaks for second, and I think that's going to be the second one that Montgomery has gunned down in this game, as the B running Mackey, that B2, and he is out as Montgomery has caught 2 stealing in this game, and the success rate for Hilldale stealing bases has dropped dramatically here in this game against the Red Sox. Montgomery has been on point. So that clears the bases with 2 outs. Warfield still at the plate. The D hitting Warfield. Here is the pitch. He will get to swing away. And he gets a 2-out single that he hits sharply, lines it to Lynn in center field. Lynn fires it quickly back in to hold him to first. Frank Warfield is now standing on first base with John Henry Lloyd coming to the place. The A-hitting, A-power Lloyd could change this game in one swing of the bat. Here's the pitch from Drago. That's going to be a defensive check on Burleson. Burleson fields it, plays the sharp grounder easily, fires it over to Yaz at first for the 6-3 putout. And out number 3, and we go to the bottom of the 8th with the Red Sox still up 2-1 over Hilldale. And I need a pitcher to come in for the Hilldale Club. Let's see, who can it be? And let me bring in a righty. Let's see, who could be the righty I can bring in? Ping Gardner is fatigued. Can't bring him in. Hampton the starter. Bring in Sam Ross. He is a C pitcher, but he has A control. So Ross comes in. Don't have a pitcher for Sam Ross in the system. As Ross toes the rubber, again, Ross is a C pitcher going against Burleson, who will be a D hitter. Here is the pitch. Burleson swings away, hits a line drive to Lloyd at short. Lloyd has been all over everything today as he takes that one out of the air for a L6 putout. And out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th. And Dwight Evans stepping to the plate. Evans batting from the C column with A power. Here's the pitch from Ross. Evans will get to swing away, and he gets a one-out single that he hits into left center field as Thomas races over to get it, fires it back in to Lloyd, and that's a one-out single by Dwight Evans. We'll bring up Carl Yastrzemski to the plate. Yastrzemski digs in, batting from the B column. Evans takes a slight lead as Ross goes into the windup. Here is the pitch that will be to Yastrzemski's power card. Yastrzemski is a B power, and that B8 is a double plus. He will score Evans as Evans comes racing around and is crossing home plate safely for another run to come across for a one-out double by Yastrzemski here in the bottom of the 8th. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. I should have hit the D plus. There we go. That scores a run. Now Jim Rice comes to the plate, one out. Yastrzemski's standing on second. And the dangerous Rice coming to the plate, batting from the B column. Here's the pitch from Ross. That B6 is a fly ball lifted into right field. Yastrzemski tagging up as it takes Briggs back to the wall. And Yastrzemski tries to beat the throw by Briggs, and Briggs guns down Yastrzemski for a double play the odd way. The play is fielded by the right fielder to third base. And that's a odd double play to end the inning, but not after another run comes across as Briggs fires it over to Judy Johnson and guns down Yastrzemski, who tried to tag up. Poor base running by Yastrzemski, but we go to the 9th with Hilldale down to their last 3 outs to try to correct these 3 runs. And Dick Drago, can go 2 innings, so he still will remain a C with B control. As Louis Santop comes to the plate. Santop is a B hitter. Here's the pitch. It's going to be a defensive check on the right fielder Evans. Evans breaks well on the ball, sprints toward the right field line, gets under it for the F9 putout, and out number 1. That'll bring up Clint Thomas. Thomas batting from the D column. And I would look to put in somebody to hit, but they have a very shallow bench, and they're both right-handers. And it's just not going to help. So we'll let Clint Thomas swing away from the D column. Here's the pitch to Thomas. And he gets one to hit, as that D10 will be a single by Thomas as he gets a fat one that hung up, and Drago smacked it into right center as Evans fields it and tosses it in, but not before Clint Thomas is safely on first. And Thomas with good speed. I don't think they're going to test the arm of Montgomery again. He's been too good today. The rolls are going with him as Carr steps to the plate. The switch hitting Carr will be hitting from the C column. Here is the pitch. That could be trouble. Carr has B power, and he has took that offering, and that's C7 goes to the batter card. That C12 goes to his power, and that B10, if you've been keeping up with this scoring, is a home run by Tank Carr as he drives it into the right field seats, and we have a tie game all of a sudden. Here in the top of the ninth. Home run by Tank Carr. And it is now 3-3, and Drago has blown the lead. And in the top of the ninth, with one out, the Hilldale Club has tied this game up, and Judy Johnson steps to the plate. Drago just shaking his head in disgust. As if he allows another run across, he'll drop to a D. But here is the pitch to Judy Johnson, who bats from the D column. That D3 will be a ground ball to short. Petrocelli up with it, fires it over to Yaz for out number 2. And that brings up D.Pole Johnson, batting from the B column. Here's the pitch from Drago. That's going to be a defensive check on Drago. Drago boots it as it takes a weird hop and bounces toward Petrocelli at third. Petrocelli cannot make the play as D.Pole Johnson makes it down to first on the E1 error. And that's the third error in the game for the Red Sox. Sloppy game so far as Sam Ross steps to the plate. And Ross, like I said, is going to swing away because the bench of Hilldale is really of no help. They'll both drop to D ratings, I believe. Let me check that again. If I can get somebody in with a C. Nope, they'll both be D, so it ain't going to matter. Sam Ross takes his hack at it as Drago goes into the windup. It'll be a control check. That B control for Drago is still not good enough as he walks Ross. He walks his counterpart as Drago has come in and pitched horribly. He's given up the lead, and now he's got 2 runners on with Otto Briggs, who's had a hot bat in this game, coming to the plate. Batting from the B column. Here's the pitch from Drago. And he gets a control check. No, excuse me, a defensive check on the catcher, Briggs. Montgomery has played well, but this time he cannot make the play as he fumbles the ball out of his mitt, and Briggs beats the throw. So now we have the 4th error on the Red Sox on the E2, and the bases are now loaded with Frank Warfield coming to the plate. Warfield, can he come up big here in this situation? Can Drago pitch himself out of this bind? Here is the pitch. It goes to the batter's card. Warfield, that D7. He lifts it high into center field, takes Lynn back to the wall, back, and a long out for the F8. But not before 2 runs come across, and we now have a 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the 9th with Sam Ross on the mound and Fred Lynn stepping up to the plate. Sam Ross, again, is a C pitcher, but he does have A control. Lynn, batting from the left side, is an A hitter with A power. Lynn could end this in one swing. Here is the dice roll, and he will not get the chance to, as that's going to be one that he's hit sharply to Lloyd at short. Lloyd up with it, fires it over to first. Carr squeezes it for the 6-3 putout. And out number 1. And that'll bring up Rico Petrocelli. Petrocelli will be hitting from the D column. Unless I can bring a lefty in that can hit better. Let's bring in, let's see. Bernie Carbo. Carbo will be hitting from the C column, but with A power. B column with A power. Carbo steps in. Ross into his windup. And we'll go to the batter's card. That B11 is his power column, but he gets too anxious and he lifts that one into left field. It takes Clint Thomas all the way back to the wall, but eventually it's just a long out for the F7 putout. Bernie Carbo knows he just missed one. As now Doug Griffin stepping to the plate, batting from the D column. Here's the pitch to Griffin. It's a defensive check on the catcher. Santa up with it. Slow roller in front of the plate. Pounces on it. Fires it down to first. Sidesteps. Toss. Carr for the 2-3 putout. And we got free baseball here, folks, as Dick Drago now will take a seat, and I need to find a third baseman. It looks like I only got one choice here. As Hobson comes in. Dick Drago is going to have a seat. See if I can bring in a left-hander. Let's bring in Moret. Roger Moret will be pitching from the B and with C control. As John Henry Lloyd steps in, this 3-3 tied game in the 10th. Lloyd batting from the B column. Here's the pitch. And he gets one to hit. That B10 is a leadoff single by John Henry Lloyd, as the bats have got active here late for the Hilldale Club. Now to bring the catcher's Santa to the place. John Henry Lloyd takes a slight lead as the pitch comes from Moret. It's going to be a control check on Moret. That's C8. And he will walk him as he's put 2 on here in the top of the 10th. Runners on first and second. Clint Thomas coming to the plate, batting from the C column. Moret into the windup. Here is the pitch. And Thomas gets to swing away. That's C7. Be a fly ball into right field. Lloyd will get to tag up. Evans he fields the play. He's firing it over the third. And Lloyd slides easily in, safe. For the fly ball into right field that moves Lloyd over. But out number 1, we now have runners on the corner, and Tank Carr, who, if we take a quick glance, hit a 2-run shot back in the 9th to tie this game up. Can he repeat that play? Here's the pitch from Moret. Not this time. That's going to be a defensive check on the second baseman, Griffin. Griffin fields it. Can he pull a double play, though, is the question. Griffin's defense is a C. That's C8 on the defensive card. he will be able to field the ball, but it's a slow roller that the only play he has is to Yastrzemski at first for the 4-3 put out, and Lloyd will score from third. And now Hilldale has a 4-3 lead here in the top of the 10th with 2 outs. And Judy Johnson coming to the plate. Johnson batting from the C column. Santip will be running on contact. Here's the pitch. That C2 will be a control check, and he will walk Judy Johnson. So Moret's coming in a bit shaky here. That's why the bullpen and the pitching for Boston is suspect if they're not swinging the bat well, and they have not in this game. They've only had 3 hits. They struggle as D.Pole Johnson comes to the plate, batting from the A column. Here's the pitch. And that's going to go to the batter card. That A9 is going to be trouble. That's a single plus. That's going to score Santip, and another run comes across as he hits one to the wall in left center field. They get it in quickly, but Santip, breaking well on the ball, will score, and the score is now 5-3 Hilldale. And Sam Ross stepping back up to swing away once again. The D hitting Ross. Here's the pitch, and he strikes him out to end the inning, but not after 2 runs come across. And Hilldale takes a 5-3 lead going into the bottom of the 10th. And Montgomery stepping to the plate. Bob Montgomery. The D hitting Montgomery. Again, let's see if we can bring a lefty in to help the situation any. See who I have available. No one, really. Bring in Dole. He will be hitting from the A column. Denny Dole coming in. See if he can do anything. Ross. Now, let's take a look at Ross. He's going to drop to a D. I need to bring another pitcher in for Ross. Who shall I bring in? Let's bring in Shell. It's unknown Shell. I don't know. Bring him in to pitch. Pitching from the C column with B control. Dole batting from the A. Here's the pitch. He will get one to hit. That A4, though, is just a deep fly ball into center field. D.Pole Johnson settles underneath it for the F8 put out. And out number 1. The Red Sox down to 2 outs. As Roger Moret steps to the plate. Of course, we'll be pinch hitting for Moret. Let's bring in the best hitter can. We're going to bring in Beniquez, because I don't really have a good lefty to bring in now. So Beniquez will be hitting from the C column as Shell goes into his windup, pitching from the C column. C on C. That C5 will be a fly ball into left field. Clint Thomas settles underneath it for out number 2, and the Red Sox now are down to their last out. And Rick Burleson striding to the plate. The D hitting Burleson will have to swing away. The bench is not any better. Shell into his windup. Burleson digs in. Here is the pitch. He gets to swing away, but he hits a ground ball to Lloyd, who has been a vacuum cleaner at short. He's up with it, fires it over to first for the 6-3 put out, and that is our game. Hilldale now has give the Red Sox their first loss as they drop to 3-1. Hilldale now is 2-2. Sam Ross gets the win. Roger Moret the loss. And Shell the save. Tank Carr is our MVP with that 2-run shot in the ninth that tied it up. And that's going to be our game. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off here because I got things to do. But hope you have a blessed evening.